This conference will now be recorded.
Well, I'm so excited everybody is here for Edit Your Life for Success with James Lott Jr., one of my favorite people on the planet. And James, thank you so much for being with us today. I know that you and I have done a couple of shows before. I don't think we've quite done it something like this, and definitely not in these circumstances. So I'm just going to let you take it away.
No, Shay, I love Shay Holland. So I'm sure you know that. We met about 4 years ago at Michael Rippey's house when you did his podcast.
Oh.
You went to his house,
Yep.
you were recording his podcast for me to host, and I met, and we hit it off from the very beginning. And so she's been on my TV shows. We've always done things in studio. So I love you, and I love being on here. So everybody, hello. I know we're all at home, and we're all sitting going, okay, what's going on? I want to first tell you a little bit about who I am, because some people are like, well, why should I listen to you? So I'm going to tell you who I is briefly. This is like the short, abridged version. I do a lot of stuff.
James does. He's not kidding about a lot of stuff.
I'm going to list some things. You'll be like, how'd you do it all? That's another story. All right, so number one, I've been in the business of some form for 13 years. I came into the business in my late 30s. I'll be 51 years old in a couple of months. Actually, I'm trying to hold it together. Oh, thank you. I try. I drink a lot of water. Water is key. Moisturize, and I moisturize. Mention moisturize too. And that goes into our whole self-care thing, which we'll talk about too while we're on here. So I've been in business 13 years. I started out as an actor, like a lot of people do. My first show was House, which was a big hit at the time. I kind of lucked out.
Yeah.
I worked with Hugh Laurie and did a whole thing on there. And then I decided I don't want to be an actor. I want to be in charge. So I decided I'll become a producer and a writer and all this kind of stuff. So what I've done in the last 11 of those years, I've been an AfterBuzz TV host for 5. I've done over 800 episodes there, including creating shows, producing shows, starring in them. I've won an award for one of my shows, Breaking Into, which Shay has been on several times. I won a Capital City Web Award for Best News Entertainment Series. So I did that. At the After Party Radio, I have a show called Extra Connections. That's almost a year old there. That's filmed in Inglewood. I also do voice work with Westwood One. I'm also an author of over 20 books. I started the Really Short Story Project. I have about 5 authors that I work with, and we produce all this short story content. I'm also a musician, poet, and spoken word artist, and I have 4 albums and 2 EPs out. And I just released a song yesterday called Music Is My Life. You can get it anywhere things are sold. And then I'm also a certified professional organizer. I've done that for 11 years. I'm the super organizer. That's my company. And I've been doing that, and I'm certified in several areas. And then in 2 weeks, I will have been a certified life coach for 6 years.
Wow.
And I'm certified in several of those also. I also used to be a nurse. I used to have nursing degrees, and I have a doctorate. So I do a bunch of different things. I was in a movie recently with Vivica Fox for Christmas. I called Second Chance at Christmas, and that was fun. But basically, I'm mainly a host. I'm an interviewer. I do interview-style shows. I have 7 web series and 6 podcasts. I have an organizing show that I've done for 6 years, and so that's across the world. And so this is why I feel like I'm qualified to say anything, because I've tried all kinds of stuff. And so I'm going to share with you what works for me. And the second component is self-care is so important. June 2018, I woke up and half my face was paralyzed. I was scared to death, didn't know what was going on. Turns out I got Bell's palsy, and I got a severe case of Bell's palsy. And now people don't talk about Bell's palsy, but whenever I say it, everyone goes, oh, I just thought you had that. My father had that. My cousin had that. 40,000 people get it a year.
Wow.
That's a disorder that can happen because of a virus. So I know all about viruses. I know all about them. It went through my ear, collapsed my cranial nerve, and my face looked like I was drooping, and I was like, I talked like a pirate. I could not see, eat, cough, sneeze, drink, chew for about almost 9 months. I had a very severe case. And some people will never recover. Most people recover within a couple of months. It took me almost a year to get back. So I know about self-care. I was like, that's something that I've toured the country with since, talking to people about taking care of themselves and how stress can manifest in many ways. So some of the things I'm going to talk about today, the tips I'm going to give you, use on the side of caution, like don't work yourself into a frenzy to get them done. Just, you do them when you're ready. We're going to be home for a while, folks. Looks like we're going to be home for a while. So you've got some time to handle some of the things I'm talking about. Before, when we were busy and doing other stuff, it may have been hard, but now you have time to kind of do stuff. So that's kind of that's me, James Lott Jr. in a nutshell.
Great. Well, let's
Okay.
jump into some of those tips. I'm excited to hear what some of the suggestions are.
Yes, get ready, people. Get ready. Okay, these are things
I
that
got my pen.
These are things that have worked for me. I'm telling you, they work. I'm out on every platform. I have websites, everything. This has worked for me. I always say how the world right now seemingly has stopped, but it really hasn't. And I found out when I got a couple of emails recently from a couple of TV production companies. They were like, "We saw you online, and we saw your video, and we want to pitch you for this show, or we want to do this for this." Companies are still having eyes out there. Now they got more time. They got more time to look for you now. And so I feel like the main thing is getting who you are and what you are ready to be seen. So when they're looking, they go, "Oh, she's perfect for this," or "He's perfect for that." You want to make sure that all your ducks in a row and they're honestly representing who you are. That's the number one thing. And because we're busy and we're out there trying to get jobs, we're working jobs, some of us work other jobs while we're doing jobs, we kind of let things go sometimes. You don't realize, even myself, there were a couple of things I had to kind of look and go, "Oh, I didn't update that picture," or or that phrase, I don't even say that phrase anymore, or I didn't add that show I just did recently, or that big interview I did last month, I should put that on the website. Like, there are things that even I dropped the ball, and I'm an organizer. I'm pretty good, but the thing is, we're all human. You get to what you can. But now you have time. So number one, I feel like this is a time for introspection and re-evaluation. I call it editing your life. I don't like saying that we're like they say declutter and clutter. I just say edit. We're all editors. We all write our own story, right? So you can also edit that story. And so one of the things that I say at the beginning is, what about your handles and your email? And what I mean by that is the name. For example, what I say at the end of every show, this is my thing that I always say. And thank you for watching. And well, you can follow me on social media at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms. And I say it like that, and I'm done. Because literally, over the years, I made everything match. So James Lott Jr. in some form is everywhere on all social media platforms and my email. People don't want to have to search or think who you are. Now, I know some people like special names or sayings for their emails. Do they say who you are? Are they something from when you were a kid and you kept it, or do they represent who you are now in the business? If you're a certain kind of host, my friend's the Curvy Critic. She's and her name is Renata. She's a member of here.
She's great. Yeah.
She's amazing. She does a lot of things too. She's an author and actress and all that too. But all of her stuff is at the Curvy Critic. So that's fine. I do have a super organizer stuff. I think that the super organizer. You want to make sure that all of your email handles and your handles on all the social media platforms kind of match. I feel like it's just much easier. So people look for you, they can just see it. Because people are looking at your Instagram. It's like there's no more really business cards anymore. Nowadays, it's like, where can I find you? What's your email? They want to know directly what that is. So I always say people start there, look at that, and see if it says who you are, describes who you are, or if it just says your name, make sure your name is on there. Now, I know it's hard sometimes because some people have common names. You may not be able to get the exact, like, Reagan Rosenberg. You may be able to get that. Somebody may have that already. But you may be able to get that one or two, or Reagan Rosenberg host. I mean, there's something that kind of represents you. It's a small thing, but it really has helped me in terms of just getting my stuff out there. So I want to make sure I say that. Because I've had people who have confusing handles where I'm one on this one and I'm one on this one. It's like, well, people don't want to look. They really don't want to. They want to be spoon fed. The second thing that's very important is, of course, how you look. We're in a place, we're both in LA, New York, wherever you are. It's how you look because you're going to be on camera. Your headshots. I had some headshots done last year after I had my Bell's palsy. Of course, I had to update my headshots. I try to update my headshots maybe once a year, maybe, or once every couple of years. I want to make sure that what they see is what they get when they're hiring. I've had people that I went casting for things, and it looked completely different than what their picture is online. and that can be really off-putting. They don't want to see that. And I just want to make sure that if you're a person who changes your look a lot, make sure you have pictures that show you different looks. Just that simple, right? I know that a lot of women, they change their look sometimes. So they have long hair, short hair, weave, no weave. That's fine. And men too sometimes. Sometimes, like me, this grew in like a week and a half. Let me see a shaved head. My head grows fast. So I have to always watch out when I remember I went to a speaking engagement and all the flyers had the shaved head. When I showed up, I had this. A little bigger. And I was like, oh, that's not really good. I'm sorry I did that kind of. I just feel weird about that. But I feel like as long as you have your updated look, not a picture from 10 years ago. Come on, folks. You got to update them pictures. You can use some cheesecloth and a good filter if you need to, but make sure you look current in your photos. It's very important. Because again, that's also your other calling card. They want to know, send me a picture, send me a headshot. Make sure they're clear, make sure they really show, it's all the clear background and distracting. And if you can't afford them, you can find a wall somewhere and have somebody take a picture of you. I mean, there's good cameras. My iPhone 11 has a good camera in it, and then I also have a regular camera too. But I know you can't always afford them. But there are also sometimes people who are looking to give free headshots for various projects. And of course, when I say with that, make sure you discuss them fully first, everything beforehand. Don't be like, you don't want any Madonna situations like later. You want to make sure that everything is discussed up front. If they're going to try to use your photos for anything, you got to be all of that. But sometimes they need the hours, they need it. So you want something, you want to make it nice and easy for people. You can probably hear me say easy like 20 times. That's what people want. They want easy. Nowadays,
Right.
they don't want.
Yeah.
You know that shit. They want nothing
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah. Casting directors want it easy too. Everybody. Yeah. It's all got to be in one nice package.
It's one of those things where I remember back in the day when websites first started, I was taught if it was more than 2 clicks, people get bored.
Mm-hmm.
They just search more than twice. They're like, they give up. Some will go doing it. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't find it. Never mind. That's why.
Right.
So that's another story done in a second, guys. Okay, number 3. Okay, this is very important because now we are home, and this is happening more and more now. Social media engagement. It's work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's work. We know it's work. It is. It's work. And I hear conflicting reports because I work with everybody. So I work with casting directors, I work with PR people, I work with actors, action music. And some will say, as long as you're on Instagram, you're good. Or as long as you're on Facebook, you're good. As long as you're on, I say, and this is controversial, I say be on all of them. I really do. I feel like they each do something different for you. And I'm telling you, I've gotten work, I've gotten clients, I've gotten guests for my shows from each of the platforms for various reasons. Now, this is what I mean. I love LinkedIn. I didn't know what to do with it. I got it years ago, and I was like, okay, put your resume on LinkedIn. Trust me, people are looking around, and I've gotten jobs and opportunities off of LinkedIn. I do posts on there. I usually post my work. I posted my air check, which is your voice stuff. I posted my hosting reel on there. I mean, I post things on there, and that's all you have to do, really, and then let it see what happens. And I follow certain people on there that are recruiters and high in the industry or they're industry professionals. I follow who I want to see me, and that's the number one thing I think about all social media. Follow the people and the subjects that work for you, that you want to come into your orbit. That means if you're a musician, follow music people. If you're a host, then you follow PR people, you follow networks, you follow, that's what you should do. But it's work. Twitter, interesting. I've got stuff off of there too. And there are various applications you can go on that you can post in multiple places, of course. You can schedule things. I have a friend who does this thing he calls Social Media Sunday. So he sits at home and creates all these different things and then schedules them to go out during the week. Certain little videos, little tweets, little this. He just schedules the stuff and says, okay, I'm going to do this, and then puts it out there, and then the weekend just all starts to populate. When I'm looking for people to collaborate with, I go on social media. I think it doesn't hurt you to do it. And as an organizer, I always feel like you can set aside amount of time. Just say set aside 1 hour. Just 1 hour. I always tell people all the time, do you go to the bathroom? People go, yeah, I go to the bathroom. Okay, I want to make sure. You go to the bathroom? Yes. I said, okay, so sometimes when you go into the bathroom, you may have, you have time to set aside to go on social media for a few minutes. That's kind of how I look at it.
Thank you, James. Self-care and socializing.
At the same time, people know who I am. That's how I am. My whole thing is the time. It's like whether you do it while you're sitting on a toilet is another story. But it's just like if you set aside 5, 10, 15 minutes to take care of yourself in the morning, to wash your, brush your teeth and comb your hair, you can set aside 15, 20 minutes and maybe send a tweet, post a picture on Instagram, post a post on LinkedIn, say hi on Facebook, you're done. It's like if you don't want to put even a lot of effort into it, just share some of your stuff. That takes 30 seconds. And that's kind of where I'm coming from with the bathroom analogy. It's like you take time to take care of yourself. This is still taking care of yourself, but for business, because you are a business. Who you are, the host, you are the commodity. You're the product. And I think sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves we're it. So we got to sell ourselves. We got to remind people why we're good and why we might be good for a red carpet that you're doing, or for a moderation of something, or for a panel discussion. You want to remind people, this is what, I do this, I'm here for you. I could be the right person. So to me, going on social media, I personally say go on all of them. I know some folks say certain ones. I say go on. Why not? They're free.
And I think some people, the thought is if you aren't going to do it regularly, pick 2 that you can really manage. And that's the way I do it, just because I really just dislike social media intensely. And so, that's the way I do it as well. Am I missing some opportunities? Probably, absolutely. But I think, it's in that self-care. For me, it's not healthy to be spending that much time. I think, you make it sound easy, but it's not.
I say it's work. I say it's work. I say it's work. But I feel like some people tell me all the time, here's all the time, well, no one's seeing me. Why am I not getting this?
Right.
Why am I getting that? This is one way you can be seen more. I feel like the more eyes on you, as I say, it's controversial. The more eyes on you, the better your chances. Now, like Gary Vee, who I follow, who's a famous, guy who talks about his stuff. Now he talks about creating 64 pieces of stuff every day, and I don't do all that. That's a little too much for me. So there's varying degrees of it, of course. But I just for me, I'm standing by it. I just feel.
Yeah, and it definitely works. Like one of the people in our group has booked all of his work through social media, and he went all the way to Entertainment Tonight. So, did he? Yeah.
Said about it. There. Number 4, and this is important. And I had somebody really great put my hosting reel together. Hosting reels. That's your work. Keep them short, to the point. Make sure they see. Oh, I know Mina. Hi, Mina. Make sure you know who you are as a host, what kind of hosting style you have, what is your hosting style. I'm very conversational, I'm very authentic, very kind of, I laugh with my guests, I cry with my guests, I don't care, I do it all. And that's my style. I'm very kind of down home, but I'm very professional, and I like to dig in deep behind something. That's just kind of my style. So a lot of my interviews are one-on-one, or that's what I talk about. So my hosting reel needed to reflect that. So my hosting reel shows parts where I'm laughing, parts where I almost cry, parts where I'm asking a really deep question. It represents me. I feel like it does. I think the minute and a half, hour long it is, it represents who I am. And sometimes, see, hosting reels are hard because those are time consuming, because you have to go through your body of work and look through them, right? And figure out what part do you want, and if you're interviewing a celebrity, did that celebrity say something that's good? I had, for the soap fans out there, I interviewed Eric Braden, who plays Victor Newman on Young and the Restless. And now we've become friends. But when I first met him, at the end of the interview, he said, "You're the best interviewer I've had since Larry King." I almost cried when he said that. But I was like, that's a soundbite. Right there, that's good for the reel. And so I have that in my reel. Because it's like, I'm going to promote that, because if someone hears that and they see Eric Brain's been around for like 100 years. He's been around for a long time. He's well known in certain communities. If he thinks that, I'll look and see what James is doing. I'll take a chance on him. Or someone says, and you know, every interviewer likes this, that's a good question. We love when we hear that, right? When you hear that, you're like, oh, I did good. It's a good question. One of those, and if they give you a good answer, put that in your reel. You know, like that would be somebody say, that's a good question. But these are things that, but it's very time consuming. So during this time period, if you don't have an updated hosting reel, take your time and just start going through some of your stuff and start marking things that you may think may work. I've gotten opinions from friends and say, give me opinions. Do you think it's a good thing? You know, from other hosts or friends. I've sent my hosting reel out to people, say, let's look at this and tell me if I need to take something out or put something in. How to make you feel? I got some good feedback when I was editing it and putting together, but it's a very time consuming thing. But again, it's your calling card. They say, what do you, and people ask for hosting reel, they ask for them. Like, what do you do? And if you do a lot of audio, which I do also, I do a thing called an air check. So I have a bunch of like snippets of things I've done audio wise. And so they may ask for that too. You can send that out and say, here's what I've done. I'm the voice of a couple of intros. I've done a couple of commercials. Then I have my radio show. So I've done little snippets of that too. And you send that out. And they go, oh, okay, because they want to hear your voice. So air checks, hosting reels, again, they're your calling card to kind of like show people who you are. But make sure they represent you. Like make sure that they really represent you. Number 5, this is a fun one for me. So just like any profession, you have to exercise the muscle, right? You have to exercise. A lot of us now, we're not working. That's just how it is. We can't, there's no work for us. I mean, there's no red carpets. There are no movie premieres. There's nothing happening right now. AfterBuzz TV right now, they're doing remote stuff from home, like we're doing here kind of. My place, the after party, they're not doing anything. They're on hiatus until.
Oh, really? They took hiatus?
Yeah.
Wow.
They just couldn't figure it out that way. It's a smaller company, I guess, or something. I don't know. But they left that in. They said we're going to wait till they come back. So for me personally, I want to practice continuing what I'm doing. So what I've been doing is I called up all my friends in the business, out of the business, and I've been doing interviews this whole time. I've been interviewing people like 3 a day for the last I've been home 14 days. And I've been interviewing people. And to me, that helps practice. And whether you air them or not doesn't even matter. It's up to you. It's practicing your craft. And that's also kind of a self-care thing. It's just kind of like, okay, let's pretend like I'm doing an interview with you. So to keep sharpening up your interview skills, your research skills, your questioning, like what questions you use, what things you say. I always laugh because when I first started, I used to watch every show I did. I don't watch every show now, I do too many, but I used to watch them. But it was good because even when you're doing your hosting meals, it's a good thing too. You can also see what it is, and don't be hard on yourself. I say this all the time, trying to be hard on yourself. But if you see something that you're doing that's not the greatest, you can actually catch it now. For example, my first radio show, I think I said the word so 10,000 times. So, blah, blah, blah. And so they call them filler words. They call them transitional words. You're like, so, and my mother caught it when she goes, your show was good, but I'll never forget the word so for the rest of my life. And I had to laugh. Like, so this, and so that, and so you did this, and so you did that. It's like, I was leaning on that word, didn't even know it. But once I started watching and hearing myself, I was like, oh, I gotta not say that anymore. I haven't said it on this show yet until now. And that's something you can do too while you're kind of, again, you're at home, you're relaxing, just kind of look through some of your stuff and see what things you're doing. Maybe I use my hands. I'm a talker with my hands. So I know that I have to watch how high my hands come up. Don't cover my face. There's things that I watch when I do that, and just kind of, it's a good time to kind of just reflect on that and look at that and practice that with your friends. It's almost like the whole adage of people who say do little home movies. You go, just do a home movie. You're at home, just like you write a little script and just your own movie. It's the same thing. It's just like grab a buddy of yours. Maybe you both are hosts. Mm-hmm. Something kind of fun together.
Yeah, and we talked with a real producer last week, and she was saying now is actually the time to do it and actually put it out there because nobody's expecting this highly produced quality thing. So this is actually a really good time to be, like you're saying, interviewing and putting something like this out there to be seen. Because everybody's, work looks like this right now since everybody's at home doing it.
Yeah, Zoom meeting has been my savior. I will tell you, I wish I bought stock in Zoom because I'm like, mm-hmm. I can't believe how user friendly it is. And then, like, same thing with GoToMeetings are all user friendly, and these platforms are great. And everybody's expecting this now.
Right.
So for now, fine. Like she just said, it's fine. So I did a lot. I mean, I've been interviewing big time celebrities and small ones using Zoom meeting. And sometimes I have the audio. I do phone call in through phone. I use Skype. Skype, another one's a user friendly thing. It's like the thing is, there's ways to do this, but I feel like for you, it's a great way just to continue practicing and exercising that muscle. Because you don't want to stay at home for the next 2-3 months not having done anything.
I rebuke that. We will not be home for 2 or 3 months.
I hope so too. I'm sorry, I said out loud. I hope so too. I hope it's done by April.
Yeah, no, but yeah, no, I totally agree with you, James. It's right on to be. I was surprised at how quickly, when you're not practicing little things, just it takes a little bit longer to think of the question. It takes a little bit longer to react and to be in the moment with the interview if you're not practicing. So it's right on.
It's true. When I had Bell's palsy, I couldn't do anything. When I first came back to AfterBuzz, it was in like my 10th month, and I remember I never get nervous for interviews. I was so nervous. I just remember my heart was beating really fast, and then what they do at AfterBuzz is, and Mina knows this, of course. So you do a countdown. They go, okay, we count down in 3 seconds. We're gonna count you down. And in the old days, you do a cold open, and then they show the intro, and then you do it. I never forget that my first day back, of course, everybody greeted me, and I cried, and it was a good Siri body and all that kind of stuff. So now I'm like, I gotta do my show. I'm sitting there with the headphones on. So James Lott Jr., we're gonna count you down in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and I went blank. I never go blank, but I hadn't. I couldn't talk. I couldn't. I started talking, and I was like, let's try that one more time, folks, because I couldn't. My brain hadn't gone back.
Right, hadn't engaged.
Because you guys don't know how it is. When you're a host, you have to think quick on your feet sometimes. You have to improvise sometimes. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're hosting. Okay, first of all, let me just say this. So all those who don't host, it's not easy. And these folks who want to get in our business and want to suddenly be hosts, it is not, you just can't come in and be a host. I'm sorry. It's hosting. There is an art form to it. I don't care what anybody says, there is. We all know who good hosts are, and we've all seen hosts that are not good. And hosting takes a lot of our brain. It really does. And it's like, you can see somebody, she's so pretty, blah, blah. Well, she's smart too, because she's working it out. She knows she has her questions ready, or she's memorized some of her questions, because sometimes you can't have the cards on camera. Like, it's a lot of things we walk into. And I would understand before you actually get on camera, there are a million things going on sometimes, depending on where you are. And so you have red carpets and movie premieres, fighting your way on the carpet. And you got people right next to you over here, and this over here, and there's a lot of things going on that you don't see that, and you're not supposed to see that. Our job is to come on in and go, hi, I'm James Lott Jr., and welcome to, that's my job. That's our job. And so I just want to say that, I'm like, being a host is not like this easy thing, just come on and just do. Good hosts I cherish good hosts. I really, really do. And I love working with people who are really good. So I just want to make sure I say that. Some of my favorite people that I watch, I always say, you're home now. Watch people, how they interview people. I love Larry King, of course. I like Barbara Walters. I like Tavis Smiley. There are folks that I watch that I think are really good interviewers, and they have different styles. And I take notes.
Yeah, home. And I just want to jump in on that. One of my agents sent yesterday a thing of casting directors who are doing some online videos now, because it's so insightful. It's always so insightful to hear from that perspective. So I've been following a bunch of casting directors as well, and that's been I just love hearing you feel like that fly on the wall thing. I love hearing their perspective too.
But see, you're talking about what I talked about earlier. Follow people who are in your bid, who are going to do stuff like this, because now they're going to do stuff like this now. They're home. There's a million IG lives now out there that everybody's doing, and they're giving away secrets. They're telling people what they're looking for. I think it's so smart, Shay. I mean, you should do that. But now you're at home. Go on Netflix, go on YouTube. Just kind of take a look around and see what people, watch some old Oprah episodes, see how she interviews. Just like, there are things you can look at people and see what they do that you may go, oh, I like that idea. Or, yeah, I should hold the microphone this way. Like, I just think you can do your research now. Again, that's at your leisure too. And that's actually a great thing. You're at home relaxing, with a bottle of wine or something.
That you can't open.
A glass of wine. Oops. And you can watch some TV and just like take mental notes or physical notes or notes on your phone, whatever. And I think it's a great idea. I think it's great. Number 6 I believe in, if you have a website or a blog, or if you don't, maybe it's time to build one. Again, it's another time-consuming thing that can have some money issues in there too. I know a lot of us aren't making any money, but a blog can be really easy. WordPress, I use WordPress. That's the thing that I use. It's very user-friendly and easy to set up. You can actually kind of do it yourself. They have step-by-step instructions. That's another calling card. I don't feel super heavy on this, but I know some folks want one and would like to have one, but now it's time to do it. And for me, I'm working on mine right now, working on updating mine. But speaking of self-care, I'm taking my time on it. So I may work on it for an hour one day, and then I may work on it an hour. I don't have a time limit. I like try to get it done. I'm just like, I'll get it done when I get it done. But I am consciously working on it when I'm in the mood. When I feel like they will work on this page of my website, get that up, then I work on it. But I feel like those are, again, make sure if you have a website, your pictures are up to date. Make sure if you have a saying or a mission, make sure that's up to date and reflects who you are. If you offer certain types of hosting, make sure that's on there. If you're a person who's like, I also host parties, or I can also host this, make sure it's on there. Again, so they can see it. Always make sure your website or blog is clean looking, but also represents you, who you are. Again, folks don't want things that are super busy sometimes, where the eye just kind of crosses and there's like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Their brain like pops. You want things that are kind of clean, to represent who you are, but make sure the information on there is accurate. Make sure that it's current, and make sure you have a place where they can contact you. That's another thing too. Make sure you have a thing for emails that you can create up there. Or if they don't have a place, make sure you have your email clearly on there, or your social media clearly named on your page, so they can actually go to you. A lot of times they may find you there first and then go to your other stuff. And that's a lesson for all these things on all these different platforms. You never know how they're going to find you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They could be searching online for I'm looking for black male organizers in Los Angeles, and whatever pops up in Google, you don't know what that is. So you want to make sure whatever pops up in Google represents you completely, and it's the most accurate, and they can easily reach you. Those are the three things you should always remember. They can easily reach you, so you want to make sure that is so. And again, I go back to the more than 2 clicks. People just like give out. They're like done. Make sure it's easy to navigate. For me, it's like, here's my hosting, here's my acting work, here's my music, here are my books. It's all laid out, different pages for each, done.
And we'll be doing a whole website layout tomorrow with one of our speakers too. So just focusing on that, primarily for agent and casting director submissions. But all the information is, what you're saying is right, exactly what we'll be focusing on. Yeah, definitely. I think it's at 4 o'clock tomorrow, but it's in the event.
It's another calling card of you. Whatever you, these are all, I always say these are the fence that's around you. You're the house, this is the fence. So when you walk up, well, make sure that the fence, it's welcoming and inviting to come in. That's kind of how I look at it. So now the last thing I kind of talk about, and this goes with self-care too, that's all hosting stuff, that's all great. But also, if there's something else you've ever wanted to try, now's the time to try. Within the limit, of course, you can't really go anywhere. You can try it. If you said, I've always wanted to do a song, well, now you got time to do a song. I always wanted to, do a video on this. May not be hosting related. Do it. I've always wanted to read that book. I've always wanted to plant plants. I think this is the thing that I think is very important, that now that we are all at home and not really working, we should do things that support our mental health, because our mental health supports our physical health. We need our immune systems up. We need to be in good physical shape while this virus thing is going on and while stuff's going on. We should always be that way. So for me, example, I have a big garden. And on my page on Facebook, I posted all my gardening, all my backyard and stuff. And it brings me joy, and it's my sanctuary to go out and water my plants and pick the weeds out and, all that kind of stuff. I love that, and watching things grow. Also in my house, I have a little area, I'm doing a puzzle. It's the Mandalorian, little baby Yoda. And I'm doing a puzzle, and again, we're not going crazy. I'm not going, I got to finish this in 2 days. I work on it when I feel like it. I get in the mood. Now, I recommend don't drink and do a puzzle at the same time. One night I was like, I'm gonna have me a drink and I'm gonna do more work on my puzzle. And I was like putting pieces together that don't fit. And I was like, that doesn't work. So like, don't do that.
A little too much brain stimulation.
Like that should work. Those things go together. Like, they don't go together, James. And when I got sober, I was like, that doesn't go together. So I'd say do puzzle sober. Also, I have a painting station because I paint. And I have a little painting station. When I feel like painting, I work on a paint. So I kind of have things set up, and behind me is my keyboard. I'm a musician, and my gold microphone. And so when a song comes through, I do a song. So it's kind of like it's a big self-care thing. Is that do things that you may not have a chance to get to because you were busy working or trying to get work. Now it's your chance to kind of do them. And they'll feed you. They'll feed your soul. It'll feed who you are, and it will help you with your hosting. Believe it or not, it will all. There's a whole dots, and I'll tell you something. Some of the things that I started have now become other careers for me. I put out one song 5 years ago, and now I got 4 albums out. I mean, I didn't plan that. And what has happened is because I'm not working, I got 2 big royalty checks this week.
Wow, congratulations. That's fantastic.
They kind of helped bring income in a weird way that I can't make any other kind of money. So I got to rely on my music. Same with my books. I wrote one book. I thought I always wanted to write a book. I wrote it, and now I'm 20 books in, and I get royalty checks for my books. So it can become somewhat of a career too. That's a hobby. You never know. It's a hobby, but it could become a career on some level and actually add to your life. So I say, why? But to first start out just doing something you want to do. Like, why not? You're at home. Like, why not do it? Because you have the time. But I just, those are 7 things I really I feel have worked for me. And I just invite you to think about these things and see if any of them fit into your life and fit into your life in any certain ways. I mean, I know some people, it may not. I always filter people's information in and take what I need from it. So I just invite you to take what you've heard from here and maybe see if it works for you. But I know for me, it works for me. And that's why I wanted to share that, with you guys.
Well, I just want to open it up for some questions and conversation, and we'll just let you guys monitor when you want to talk. Just unmute yourself. If somebody else is talking, just wait until they're done. I hate to try to do it all myself. I saw a couple people sent chat questions as well, and I'm going to just start with answering one. James, you might want to look at them that was sent privately, but I think it's for the whole group. Somebody was asking how you find the casting directors, and one easy way is in the group. You can just put in casting in the search bar, and any castings that have ever been posted in the group will all pop up, and there will give you right there a huge list of people to begin researching. Same with maybe any topic that you want. It's the search function will work in Host an LA group. So like if you just want makeup artists because you're looking for some tips, you can just put makeup in, and we just had a post where there was about 30 people that do that in our group that came up. So use the group right now too as a resource. It's an all in one place. It's a great resource. So
it is, and it goes back to my LinkedIn thing. A lot of people on LinkedIn, there are a lot of casting directors on there. So go ahead, go on LinkedIn and follow them.
Yes, yeah.
They post things all the time, like what they're looking for, what they're working on. They give you tips. So like follow them. Comment.
And there's a lot of jobs in LinkedIn. I am constantly posting them. They may not call them a host. They may call them an MMJ, or they may call them, a journalist, but it's really comes down to hosting a lot of the times. You just have to read what they're actually looking for sure. Content creator is really a lot of times a host, and on-camera content creator. So it may seem narrow, but it's actually not that narrow.
You're very right.
Let's open it up for some conversation, some questions.
And I'm going to answer this one, but the reels. You can have several different reels because actors have sometimes a dramatic reel, a comedy reel. You can have several reels. Show them all, but make sure they're short. Make sure both reels are still within a certain amount. They don't want 5-minute reels. They want shorter ones. I say under 2 minutes. They want them quick. So post them both. Go ahead and post them. Post them both. Just share them out there, and someone will respond to whichever one.
Does it ruin the flow of the website if one reel shows a specific type of personality that's more serious and the other one is more bubbly and fun? Or is it fine to show the multifaceted nature of my personality?
I see everybody shaking. Yeah, I agree. Everybody who's shaking yes, I agree. That no, it's not. Show them both. And the thing is, also in your wording on your websites, could be word it to be used like, hi, I'm a person of all types. You know, I'm funny sometimes. I mean, you could actually word it to support what you put on your website.
And should I, you know, the part like on the website where you have like a short bio about who you are, should that be written in the third person or in the first person? Because I always see people writing it in the third person, but it feels kind of weird. It's like, feel like Mina is blah, blah, blah.
That's a great question. I think it's a personal choice.
Okay.
I write it first. I'm
yeah,
like,
so do I.
Because
yeah, I think it depends on you. You know, only you know how you're going to be using your materials. And some people, it's third person because literally, when if say they're speaking, a speaker who does events, they're just taking that bio straight as it is. So that's why you might see, say, third person in somebody's bio, because they know that they're, you know, whatever they're speaking at, they're just literally going to use it exactly as it is. There's no creativity and help. You know, they don't call and say, can you send us something for our event? They just literally take it right off of there. But we'll definitely be able to go with more on the specifically on the websites tomorrow. But I did also want to say on the website, one thing you might want to do if they're very different, like let's say you're doing news and movie reviews, which are two very different hostings, and so you're never going to probably see a casting that's asking you to do hard news and, you know, movie reviews. Have just different pages on your website, then is the way to do it. So that you're sending, when you send them the link, if it's, you know, for you know, hard news, you're sending them that link. When you're sending them for your movie reviews, you're sending them that link.
And she knows that she didn't use. So
sometimes for the film review part, and this is my last question, like a lot of the film reviews I do, not all of them, but a lot of them come from like a social justice perspective. Like for example, like Parasite is about social class, like really digging deep and analyzing the film and the symbolism there. So that kind of relates to more of the hard newsreel. Is there a way to combine that into one, or should I keep the film critic stuff and the social justice news stuff separate?
It depends on what kind of job you're looking for, I would say. It really is tailored, and it might not always be the same thing. I definitely am a person that tends to tailor things to what the casting says, and this is what one of our casting directors told us the other night. Really look at what they're asking for, and if and when possible, send them only what they're asking for. And that will move you up higher in their eyes because you're making it really easy for them. They're not having to wade through a bunch of stuff that, wait, I didn't ask for that in my casting. So really you want to think about it from an agent, manager, casting director viewpoint. Are you making their job easier, especially if they have 1,000 or 10,000 submissions to look through? We've got to make their job as easy as possible for them.
That word easy, told you, easy, make it easy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I worked with Suzanne Cena last fall, and then I shot my reel over the summer, and everyone said like, oh, apply to AfterBuzz, you have to get a referral. And so I've like reached out to a ton of AfterBuzz hosts trying to get a referral. No one responds. And I obviously have like this amazing like produced reel. So I'm like, I don't like, just because I don't have a referral, I don't want it to like dictate or whether or not like I should apply or not. Because obviously like I heard having a referral gets you in like quicker and easier. Since you're an AfterBuzz host, do you think it matters? Like, should I just apply anyways without a referral? Or what do you think?
Almost like what Shay said, you got to follow directions. There, and I'll tell you, AfterBuzz is a stickler for directions. All the way down from Ria Menounos all the way down. They want, you got to follow. They will not look at your stuff if you don't follow directions. They have turned away great hosts who, after they met them, they tell them do these 5 things, and they do 3, not the other 2. They're like, next. They want to see if you follow directions. So Reagan, DM me later. Let's talk.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, sorry, I just had my dog.
Now dogs are good for self-care. Oh my gosh, are they good? Oh, look at
that. So cute.
Now that is a good one for self-care.
To get her. Her name's Frankie.
Hi, Frankie.
So, James, thank you so much for everything you went through. One of my things, I'm pretty good with my materials, and it's funny, I'm exactly taking this time to try and redo my reel. The reel is a beast, you know, you're just, especially when you've had stuff, and I've done my things since that are more live event. So incorporating those into recorded, you know, faster paced things, it's a mind, woo, you know. Yes. But as far as having side hustles and things that you kind of want to incorporate in your hosting, I've come across a lot of people talk about niches or whatever it is. And I recently became a real estate agent.
Wow.
Funnily enough,
Oh, wow.
trying
Okay.
to
Congratulations.
avoid
Yeah.
this from happening. Meanwhile, this is attacking both of my careers.
Yes. Wow. It is. Right.
But I mean, it is what it is, and everyone's in the same boat. But as far as hosting and promoting that, I obviously, because it's pretty new, I don't have anything for a reel, but I do want to incorporate it in places like my website or like LinkedIn. And I was just looking for any suggestions, since you do have such a plethora of hobbies and things that you do work on. How do you incorporate that in the best way where it's not a total left turn from what you do as a host, but instead will maybe get me on HDTV?
Well, I'll tell you, girl. So I've been talked with several different networks because of the fact that I am one thing plus another. It really has helped me. They're like, oh, because you also do this. Oh, okay. And they see how versatile you are.
Right.
So for me, it's just part of my life. And anybody who follows me knows this. I post whatever I do. And I have certain side pages for certain things. Like I have a music page, I have things like that. But on my main, I hate to say that, I hate the way I say this. I have a fan page. Fan, whatever. I do. I have a fan page. I have meet on the top that says that after you gain fans and followers, and you do have a show. Now I got fans.
Well, especially as a musician, it's a different genre, and it's a different demographic. So
yeah, but I have a fan page, and what I do is I post everything on there too. But on my main pages, I just post normally, and I kind of, again, in the wording, I kind of tailor it to, and so here you go, guys. Here's another, me, I'm Mr. Positivity in my hosting and positive. Here's my positive new song. If the song is positive, or I have a book out. It's a positive book on positivity and something. I mean, I try to tailor it to my brand. Everything, all the stuff that I do actually kind of connects in a weird way. I mean, it may seem like a left turn here and there, but then you just go, oh well, it still sounds like James Lott Jr. He does this, and this. It's very much him. I'm kind of known as the guy who does a lot of things. Right. That's actually my brand, basically, at this point.
That's real estate for me, because I'm a positive person, but I also love helping people and just kind of showing you your potential, or finding something to make you happy. And so, I mean, you're kind of getting at something where I haven't really branded myself as that, but maybe I should.
Right. And Sean, when we did that call the other night, I'm thinking of you because he specifically used that HDTV example as a host. You would be what's classified as an expert, in real estate. And so that's, you would begin to start shooting some video of, like what he said, the sledgehammer, knocking down the wall. Here we are at this, new house that this couple just bought or whatever that I helped them get into, so there's definitely a marriage of being that expert. And then the other thing for you that came to my mind is, I don't know if you have a website, but if you do, begin to blog, a separate blog on your real estate tips. And then that way you have it combined with both your hosting and your expertise in real estate, where they could see it all in one place as well. So even though you're just starting on the real estate side, I would start even a separate social media for your real estate as well too, that you're an expert in that, where you give a 1-minute tip on you're buying your first house or whatever, where you're doing that regularly on that social media channel too. So
that's smart.
I agree with Shay completely. And that's the thing for me, I'm a super organizer. That's what I'm known. I'm a super organizer, and I'm James Lott Jr. And so a lot of companies have seen my super organizer work on those pages and my blog, which I've had for 6 years, but they also know I'm a host. So that's why I said I've gotten 3 or 4 calls recently to do hosting at some organizing shows or cleaning shows. And so that's kind of, so it's combining the two, because you're an expert now. You're an expert.
I know.
And exactly. And they're looking, like Shay said, they're looking for that. They're looking for stuff like that for those DIY channels and those kind of things.
Well, that's what was so frustrating. I was in these hosting classes with people who are lawyers or whatever, and then they were becoming hosts. And I was like, well, it's so funny how that works if you're of a good personality and you're an expert. But because I'm more of a, what I always like to call like a Juliana DePandy of the day, where we were just, I could talk to a wall about its paint. So I can talk to anybody. And so that was hard for me to get a niche for so long. Like, I love sports, I love travel, I love this, I love that. But to kind of make it my personality was it. Now I feel like maybe this is a little bit of a different direction in a positive way for me. I also produce game shows, so that's a whole other different thing. So
right. Yeah, James is definitely the one to talk to as much stuff as you do, but I would definitely, begin to brand yourself.
We can talk to
yeah, like the happy realtor or whatever, you come up with,
Thank you. Thanks for your advice.
But don't hide. Yeah. Don't hide your stuff. Show it all.
Thank you.
Any other input or how you guys are taking care of yourselves and what you're doing during this time, or questions? This is our
I have a
moment.
question. It's Anna calling in on the phone.
Hi.
Hi. So I separated my hosting on camera work, like website. I separated it from my producing work because I just found that, you know, I need to pay the bills, and there, for me, I've found it a lot easier to find producing work. And I felt that having anything with my face on it on my producing website hurt my chances of getting that producing work. And so I built out those two separate websites, but I can't really figure out where to put the links, like on my social media, like on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn, because I want people to, hopefully, like casting directors or whoever, to land on and like find me, you know, my hosting stuff. But then I also want to make sure producing people are finding, you know, have something to look at too. So do you have any tips on that, on where, like, kind of like figuring out which platform, like which platform to put either of the links?
My advice is, almost what I talked about a little earlier. The great thing about the social media platforms, you can tailor them to you. I always say that my pages are not a democracy; they're a dictatorship. I can do whatever I want. Who follows me, who doesn't follow me, who I follow. So my suggestion here, and I do whatever I want. So my suggestion is, if you really want to follow, if you want to get your producing out there, then follow only those people that are your like target market. That are like your potential people that be looking for producers. It depends on what you're producing, just whatever fields they are. Maybe it's television folks, maybe it's real estate, maybe it's whatever. Then follow them so that when you post, they will see it. Also engage. Sorry, go ahead.
So do you think I would need to make two separate Instagrams, two separate Facebooks, two separate Twitters, two separate LinkedIns?
You can, since you're separating everything. You can, if you want to be separate and you have the time. That's not a problem. I have a page for my producing too on Instagram, JLJ Media. I do have a separate page.
Right. And from the casting director perspective, it would be better for you to have two separate ones, because casting directors are very seldom going to look for a host who produces. They've got their own, it's usually a production company they're already working with. And so again, they're not going to want to weed through a bunch of stuff. And one of our casting directors said the other night, that's why he can count on Host in LA, for example, because I do have those love links and the resource links. So he's like, I love that I don't have to scroll through a bunch of stuff on Host in LA, which is why it's separated the way that it is. Because again, you want it as much as possible. Yeah, put your casting director hat on.
Yeah, definitely my websites are very delineated in that way. So, you know, and if I'm submitting for an on-camera job, you know, that's easy. I submit my on-camera website. But it's more about like the other and I'm kind of like you, Shay. Like I'm already overwhelmed with all the different platforms. Yeah. I definitely try. I really try to push myself and really stay engaged on all the different platforms. But it really is like detrimental to my
to your mental health. So, yeah, same here.
Yeah. So it's the idea of creating two, like doubling up on it for my producing versus that's honestly not something that I'm gonna do.
Well, maybe you have it just where you're on Instagram and you have, you know, Anna hosts and Anna produces, two separate Instagrams, and that's all you're doing, versus trying to get on all the platforms or something. And so that's what I do. I have Shay Acts, you know, as one of my, that's not what it's called. And then I have Host in LA as my other Instagram. And then on Facebook, I have the same thing. And then I'm on just on LinkedIn, I'm just on a professional site. So I have those three. And on my Twitter, what I did is I said, you know, hey, and I don't know where I got this tip from, but it was from somebody. And they said, if you're not going to be on a platform, but you want a presence, just say on your, usually you have a headline or something. Say, hey, I'm not very active on here, so please find me on my Instagram. And that's what I did.
The thing is,
I'm like, I am not, especially not with all the negativity on Twitter, not getting on there.
The thing is, if you do a separate Instagram, then further, again, follow those people you think are your market.
Yeah, and that's true, because they will begin to find you for sure. They'll be,
And engage with them too. Like their posts, comment on them. They see it. They do see it. And then they start going, oh, who's this person? They'll follow you back. And then when you post something, they'll see you.
Yeah. How are you guys doing as far as like self-care? Are you feeling like whatever you're doing is working? And if so, can you share with us what you're doing?
Nope. I'm just kidding.
I love to be tan. Like I feel like I'm naturally really white, so when I have some color, I look more alive. So I bought like a tan towel wipe, and I like tanned my whole body, and then I bought nail polish to paint my nails.
Oh,
And
that's
then
so
on
good.
Sunday, my roommate and I were like, we really want to be outside. We want to be in nature. Like we're going like stir crazy in the house. And so we took her Jeep Wrangler and drove out to Joshua Tree. And like on a Jeep, you can obviously go off-roading. And so we like took a ton of like content photos, and like it was amazing because like no one's around, and we were like able to get fresh air, like have nice like a little road
Yeah.
trip, and no one was around. So there's something about Joshua Tree. It's like super spiritual and like a little bit hippie. And even though like no stores were open, we like packed a lunch,
Oh,
and it was just nice. It was nice to like, like there's no traffic. So we literally drove to Joshua Tree within like 2 hours, and we're back in LA like the same night. So
I know. It makes me wish I had more places to go with this no traffic thing. It's just, that's
we're
like
"Where
all
else
good
can
for
we
our
go?"
mental health right there.
Yeah, no, it was honestly amazing. I wish like there was more places we could go, but like all the national parks are obviously closed, so
Mhm.
we're limited, which is too bad.
What about everybody else?
For me,
Hey,
I've
this is
enjoyed.
Wayne. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Hi, Wayne.
Hi,
Hey,
Wayne.
sorry, I don't think you can see me. I'm on my phone, but
No, that's okay. Nope, we can't. But we can hear you fine.
so yeah, I was just going to chime in on mental health. While I'm at home, I see everyone's on social media doing IG Live and everything. So I'm trying to obviously, do that as well and kind of following what they're doing. But I think I get this like overwhelming, like because no one's watching or maybe on my feed, or if I put up a video on YouTube that I maybe edit and put up there and I get like no views or one view, it's kind of discouraging. So what do you do to like keep yourself putting out content even if you don't like get big numbers, that type of thing?
That's a good question.
I always feel like I'm doing it for me, first of all. So if I do something, it's for me. And if one person watches it, it's still really good. And if somebody watches and gets something out of it, I had to flip the mindset and go, it's still good. And you have to start somewhere. I mean, I remember starting and I had 2 followers somewhere. I mean, you have to start somewhere. You keep doing it and keep promoting. After a while, people will find you, and it will happen. Sometimes it's a slow rise sometimes. And I just feel like it's a metaphor for kind of like life. You start from the bottom and you work your way. And so I try to just change the mindset of not feeling bad if I got 6 views. Because I put out videos even to this day, and I've been around for a long time. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be good, it's gonna be lit, it's gonna be hit, and I get like 20 views. I'm like, but I learned, I go, those 20 people saw it and they got something out of it and they pushed like on that button, they liked it. So I can't feel bad. That's good. Those 20 people still count. They count. And sometimes they count more than the 100 people who watch your video and don't say anything. It's kind of like flipping that script of like, well, no, that's good. That's good. I'll take those 5 people who watched it instead of the 500 that said that just looked at it and didn't say nothing. I mean, I want to know I'm effective, and I feel like it's okay to have a few views. It's okay. I think you just have to
Yeah,
kind
it
of
is. Yeah.
There's honestly so
Yeah, I would
much
say.
like there's so much like garbage on the internet that goes viral and gets millions of views,
yes.
and like some hidden gems that get like 10 likes. And sometimes for me, what I've realized, like even on Instagram, like I'll post a selfie, it'll get 100 likes, and then I'll post something that I think is way better, like an actual interview where I'm connecting with someone, and there's like some really good gems, and it'll get like 50 likes, but then one person will DM me and be like, oh, that was really good. And that's more meaningful to me than having like a bunch of people just like a vanity shot of myself with makeup. So that's just kind of like the way social media works.
That's a great
Right. One
Yeah,
more
but
question.
it can be discouraging. Yeah.
Okay,
So
I'm saying,
just, keep your spirits up about it, just that, yeah, I like what you're saying, just kind of flip. And one of our managers said the other day on a call, is it something that, you're building that you're proud of? Then, look at the long-term goal. If you're going towards building something, then that's the way to look at it.
I agree with that. You're
Right.
starting from somewhere.
For sure. And one more question about promotion. I'm such a modest person. Like I don't like promoting myself. I feel like I'm like begging for attention. How do you flip your mindset to think the opposite and like, promote yourself in a healthy way?
Because you're trying. This is your job. I mean, it's almost like you're not saying anything that's not true. If you're good, if this is a good interview, and everybody says it was good, promote it. I mean, it's not anything phony or fake. You're promoting a good interview, and you want to show people who are looking for hosts and interviewers that you're good. So in a way, just flip it that way, that you're not. My mother used to always say, "Closed mouth doesn't get fed." That's number one. So you don't do anything, then nothing happens. Comes in direction. You kind of have to do part of it. Again, you're a business. I keep saying you're a business. You have to kind of do the work to get noticed. But there are people out there looking. So just look at it this way. It's part of your job. Part of your job is to promote who you are and what you do, and if you feel like you're telling the truth about yourself, then it's not really bragging or boasting. And again, in wording with this, it can help you to be more authentic, I think. I don't know, Shay, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, what I do is most of my stuff, as you see, is geared toward helping others. And so it makes it where it's very easy to promote, because I believe very strongly in what I'm doing is going to help others. That's my whole intent. And so it takes a lot of the pressure off me to try to say, oh, I'm promoting myself. But at the same time, am I getting out there? Absolutely. So it is a form of promotion that for me works in my temperament, because Wayne, I'm very much like you. And we have a lot of British people in the group who say the same thing. This is just not the British way to promote yourself. And so I think it's like finding, your message or your mission, for lack of a better word. And once you are really clear on that, then it becomes promoting your mission. Like I have a lot of friends who are in the fitness arena, and they believe so strongly in their mission of helping get people healthy that it's very easy for them to create content and put it out there. Or you as a realtor, like I could really see you like creating a niche for first-time home buyers, for example. And then that would be really easy to promote, Andrea, because you're helping a segment of the population that is really going to need it, because we're all going to be in debt, So is it even going to be possible? Yeah. So I think, Wayne, that would be the way I would answer it.
Very good. Love it. Promote my mission. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone else want to jump in?
Hey, well, I actually just wanted to say, well, I just joined Host in LA literally last week, so I don't know how I've been missing out on awesome resources, but this is great, and thank you, James, for doing this, because this is some really good information. I work as a sports host currently for the Anaheim Ducks hockey team, so obviously that just came to an end, and then I also do a lot of trade show stuff with auto show, so I know Mike Rippey actually very well.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Cool to hear. I actually don't have a true hosting agent. So now that I've come to these slower times, I'm like trying to focus and get, regrouped and balanced, figure out, is this something I need? Or, I had enough work in the past, but there's also different avenues of hosting that I kind of want to lean towards. Like I love sports, on camera stuff. I'm trying to lean away from the trade show as well. But I guess, in my past experience, trying to find a hosting agent is just so hard without, I feel like, a referral and things like that. But I mean, what are your takes on that?
Okay.
It is definitely difficult because just going to be honest, the numbers, we have so many people wanting to host and not that many hosting agents. What they're starting to call themselves, or what a lot of the agencies are starting to put up, is called an alternative division. So we're starting to see more, and Allison, I'll connect with you offline as well, but you have to remember that because of the way that things are going, we're now competing with people from around the world. And so you do have to have top of the line experience and top of the line materials most of the time. I think that's not going to change very much, just because where the economy is going to go, they don't really have time to develop talent right now. And so it's going to be creating a lot of your own work. And we talked about this the other day with some of our agents, that you don't need an agent in the hosting world. That's the great thing, is that a lot of the castings are what James was saying, getting on social media, finding out who's the advertising agent for a brand, for example, and getting in touch with them. It just takes more creativity if you don't have an agent. But we'll probably do some sort of webinar with some of our agents and managers. In January, we did our in-person meeting with some of the agents and managers, but found out a lot of hosts were not at the level where they were actually going to really be able to get in the door yet. And so what the agents and managers told us at that time, make sure all of your materials are top quality. That's why we keep hitting, this is the time, get your materials in top quality as best you can. And it may not mean that you're ready to hit an agent or manager just yet, but you're that much closer. And you're also going to know through the resources we're offering what you need to do to get them there. You know, for example, with the website series tomorrow, you know, is your website ready to be sent? You know, that one, is it all done the way that we know that the casting directors and agents want? And James, you mentioned something that was really important with AfterBuzz and Black Hollywood Live about following directions. One of the reasons that we're doing some of these things and what we hear over and over and over again is that hosts don't follow directions. They just send what they want to send. And it's to the detriment. And so that's one of the things that we really want to push, because I would love to be able to be a resource to, like, we have most of these agents and casting directors and managers in the group. And so I had started out trying to connect people at the beginning of the year, and then of course COVID, you know, in person, because they were like, yeah, sure, we'll come to this event, sure. But then of course COVID-19 hit, but that doesn't mean that that still can't happen. But I think it's just really understanding what they want, what they're looking for. And so the more that you can participate, the better. And, you know, and I definitely want to be a resource for you. And so, like I said, just DM me afterward or something like that. And I'll take, you know, I'm willing to take a look because you're new to the group. And then what you'll find is that once I get to know people, you'll see, like me, and I do this to you all the time. So I'm like, Mina, we are gonna get her some like amazing job. Like other people will begin to tag you, and there is a casting in the group, you know, like so there's some people who constantly get tagged because I know their stuff and I know what they're capable of, and other people in the group are doing that for each other too. And then ultimately, what one of the casting directors told us last week is that when he has a little downtime, what he's doing is he's going through the love links. And so those are posted on Fridays. You want to get your stuff on there where it's just a chance to share your reel, share your new website. They're actually looking at that stuff. And so there's definitely, you know, if depending on what level you're at, like I said, I don't, you know, we haven't met, I don't know your level just yet, but we're definitely as a group wanting to help as well, I think.
The eyes are out there. And I said earlier, the
yeah.
eyes are out there. And Mina knows this also. We have I know my friend Yale Teagle, I think she's in Houston, LA too.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She refers me to things all the time. She's like, James Lott Jr., we'll call back. James Lott Jr., like we get to know each other. It's a community. We know who's good for, we may think be good for this. So once you get more immersed in the group, you will start seeing that. And Shay is a great resource. Obviously, she's a great resource. And just kind of, I think, you know, we're all in this together because we are competing with all kinds. We're competing with actors who want to be hosts now, and sports who want to be hosts now. There's a lot of people trying to get into the hosting world. It's a very big time of that now. And those of us who are just hosts, that's what we do. We're competing with all of that, and so it's very interesting. Very interesting.
And then on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, there's a producer who started a webinar. I think it's in the group, but I'll make sure. And that's really, you know, the problem and the challenge we're all having is, even if you have these great gifts right now, how to monetize. And let's just be realistic, we need money. You know, and so yeah, I mean, that's the reality of it. And so I think for a little while we're all having to get much more creative on how we're going to monetize. Like, for example, I just got a message today from I think he does real estate. It's called Neighbor. And he was like, hey, would you be willing to accept some paid posts? Because, you know, it seems like some of your hosts could use some money, and we have a way that, you know, that they could maybe rent out their studio space in their apartment right now or something like that. I didn't read it very closely because I'm like, oh, I've been resistant to do paid posting, but maybe at this point I'm going to have to get a little bit more creative. If James is right, that's why I said this can't be 2 or 3 months, because some of us can't go that long.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm a big picture person, so I'm always like, and I'm an organizer. I can't have like, just in case, you know.
Yeah.
The whole thing about this whole talk for me was more about just showing people, again, everything I said you may not take in, it may not work for you, but it's get you to think outside the box. The whole thing is, it's you, and like I said, and if you like what you do, then and figure it out how you want to figure out how you can do it. Here are some ways you can kind of do it. You know, it's just like it's kind of like this. It's what's best for you always. I said some of my things are controversial, but I just feel like some people stay really narrow in their thoughts. And I'm trying to open the mind broader. Don't stay narrow. Just like try something different, and don't hide your work. Don't hide your work. You know, be who you are. And again, we need money. We need jobs. We like what we do, and I want us all working. I want us all working and happy.
And you know, and I think the thing is just, do you love what you're doing as a host? And if not, then this is the time to begin to make some changes. But if you do, it's the long haul, and it's being patient. And most of the people that have gotten to the level of Access Hollywood or Entertainment Tonight or any of the, you know, network shows, ESPN, they'll tell you it was a long haul game for the most part. I know very few that say, oh, I did it within 1 year or 2 years. And a lot of it was creating their own content. And I'm getting ready to meet on Thursday virtually with somebody who is stepping into, she was a producer in the sports field. And I'm gonna help her create now a show where, you know, that she's hosting, but using her behind the scenes relationships with players now. And so it's thinking creatively, which I think, James, you're the master at that. And also, you know, and just being real honest, that this is a career that requires a lot of work and is going to probably require even more work. It's not, you know, where you can just show up and be like, hi, look at, I'm so cute, because you've got 1,000 or 10,000 other cute people who are doing it too. And so, James, it kind of goes back to where we started with what you were saying, you know, from the very beginning.
And Shay's good because Shay, you know, you've done news, you've done hard news, you've done other hosting, you know, you've done interviews. I mean, you've done it all too. I mean, in the sense of the hosting kind of world. So, I mean, you know what you're talking about.
And I'm telling you, like, even, you know, with that amount of experience, it's definitely not that I can walk in a door at all. That's not the case. This is the time, like I said, to create our own stuff, really, because one of the things I definitely believe is that we were created for this moment in time as hosts. A lot of the world is trying to learn how to be on camera. Most of us, this is what we've been doing. We know how to speak off the top of our head. We know how to interview. We know how to engage. And because nobody expects this beautifully produced thing right now, they're not expecting a reel. Like, this actually would be not a bad time to send reels that have some up-to-date content where you're literally in your room talking about your expertise. Because the other thing I would just say is just like, I feel like because we're in this historic moment in time, this is a moment that any of us as a host could impact history. And I know that sounds really lofty, but it's not. It could be just that one moment of encouragement. Like this, I don't know, I had this weird dream last night and I had this great idea for the economy in the dream. And so I got on and I did it as like a 1-minute Instagram story. And somebody said, oh, get that to the president, you know. But the fact is that can happen in this environment we're in. It's not crazy anymore to think it really. And so that's why I've started trying to say, okay, how can I not so much promote myself, because I really hate that, but how can I then offer a service that's useful, but that is also then still getting me on the path that I want to be on. And so, yeah, so I think it is just, you know, getting creative and not being afraid, just being bold. I think being bold with our dreams is part of my belief in self-help. Like, you can have a dream all you want, but if you're not creating the environment to support that dream through your self-help, then it's never going to happen. And then you just end up frustrated over and over and over. And like, for me, large part of that was weight loss. And people are like, oh, you know, why did you feel like you had to lose weight? You know, you were a beautiful plus size woman. Well, for me, I did not feel healthy. And I also know that all the negative comments I was getting were affecting me. I couldn't just disengage from those negative comments. And I also knew that the day came when the elevator in my building went out and I went to Starbucks instead of walk up 5 flights of stairs. I'm just gonna tell them that's not healthy. You know, when you're like, I'll just sit here until the elevator works again. And that was my wake up call, that I need to really change what I'm doing, the way I'm living, if I ever want to start on the path to my dream, if I can't even walk up 5 flights of stairs. And so I think this is the time to look at, is, you know, what the way your life is set up, is that supporting your dream to become a host of a certain kind? And if not, this is definitely a good time to begin to make those small changes.
Shay, you're so correct. And I know for me, you're very correct about that. And I agree with what you said. And for me, this is an example. I joined TikTok about a month and a half ago. All the kids are doing it. I thought I'd try it. I decided I'm not going to do dancing videos, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I decided to do hosting stuff on there, organizing tips, and life coaching tips. And for some weird reason, I'm now a TikTok star. I mean, like, I've gotten 500,000 views on something, and I'm getting all, and my organizing things, thousands of views. And so I took a platform and bent it to my will. I decided I'm going to do it my way. I'm not going to follow exactly what they're doing. So it's like, wow, okay. And so that's thinking outside the box. That's what she said, being bold, trying something different. And then what I do is I direct them from TikTok to my YouTube channel, where I have bigger organizing videos. I mean, it's like there's a way you could do it. It's thinking outside, again, thinking bigger and bolder. I took a chance. When I say I could try it, I didn't stress out about it. I just did it. It was like, okay, I'll try it. Doesn't work. Life goes on. It could have went the other direction, right? I could have got 2 views because it's organizing. Who cares? But somebody liked it, and so I think it's kind of that whole thing of just it's the time to try things out. Just try it out.
It
And
is.
can affect change, like you said. You can affect change. You never know.
Yeah. Well, James, I so appreciate you taking this time with us today, and just, for people to know that you're a resource that they can connect with and contact is amazing. And I think we're going to have to wrap it up, though, because I want to respect your time. I know we had said just trying to keep these to an hour, and start a conversation, especially in hosts in LA. Use those love links, use those resource links. If you have a question, feel free to post it on a love link. Hey, host, what do you think about this, or what do you think about my reel? And just continually use it to engage with each other. So really appreciate all of you guys, and I love to see the gifts that each and every one of the hosts in LA brings to the table. It's been really fun for me in this season, being able to collaborate with so many different people. And so I'm actually kind of backed up, but if you have something you think might be good for the group or a collaboration, just shoot me a DM, and I'm always happy to look at that too, to look at a way to use the Host in LA platform to also get you out there too. So stay in touch, everybody, and have a great rest of the day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Shay.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.